I think one of the great things about the work that Robinhood has been doing for the past 30 years is Robinhood has really worked on and introduced this idea of using data and metrics to be able to combat poverty, to be able to fight the things that are both putting people and keeping people in poverty. One of the things that we also know, though, that is keeping people and putting them in poverty is the fact that we are still battling against an incorrect and wrong-handed narrative about who's in poverty, about why they're in poverty, about what that means, and about what it takes to create a sense of mobility out. And so the thing that we really want to focus on when it comes to this conversation around narrative change is really being able to help people understand and put a face and a human dynamic around this idea of why this problem is so problematic for our entire society, why it is a stain that sits in our entire society, and the type of things that we need to do and how do we move with the right kind of urgency to be able to make this problem history for as many households and families as we possibly can. We're incredibly excited about the initiative that's being launched today called Mobility Labs. And it's being led by our Managing Director of National Initiatives and Narrative Change, a remarkable talent called Nisha Patel and a dear friend. And Mobility Labs stands for Learning and Action Bets. And because that's exactly what we plan on doing. We plan on learning and then being able, and learning from a variety of different communities, learning from 5 different communities around the country. In partnership with foundations that we are working with, to include the Weinberg Foundation and also Tipping Point in the Bay Area, to be able to understand what are the things that we should and could be learning about mobility, about true sustainable and measurable mobility, and then how do we then take those bets? How are we making those investments in those things that create this mosaic around mobility, while at the same time being able to think about the various structural issues that are creating those different dynamics, and then saying, and then what role do we play in addressing those as well? It's a 4-year initiative, and we're incredibly excited about the idea of not just having them shape the way our own individual organizations work, but then sharing something with the larger and general public about how we can think differently about this role in poverty fighting. I think the thing that I'm most excited about learning is how we can take the anecdotal and also the data and the metrics and marry the two to be able to address a really complicated problem. Because we know that we're never going to be able to get this done on the backs of one alone. You know, data will give us the information that will give us the context. The individual stories and the anecdotes will promote the action. But how then do we take the data to promote the action and then have the actions then better translate to the data that we're hoping to accomplish and the things we're hoping to get done? There's going to be a really beautiful marriage around individual and structural. There's going to be a really beautiful marriage around the data that we collect and the communities that we are working with in order to capture that information, and how we're then putting both of those two things to work simultaneously. And so when I'm thinking about the thing that I'm most excited about, I'm really excited about the results that we're hoping to generate over the next 4 years. But I'm really excited about the process, about how we're going to get there, and about the message that's going to send not just individually to our individual organizations, but to the larger field about what it means to move in partnership to be able to get the answers that we're looking for.